Once again, fans, please give a standing ovation for Davis Pauly! By the way, Utah Falcons fans, who made this possible for Davis Pauly to be today's hero, give a big round of applause for Utah Falcons' own Felix the Falcon! Felix was recently awarded the 2017 Burnaby Fan Choice Award for Mascot of the Year for the second year in a row! Give it up one more time for the Mascot of the Year, Felix! If you're ready for some football, make some noise! Relay will start with the ball, first and 10.
It's a good way to start the game with the kickoff, bringing it back on the plus side of the field, setting your offense up in a good situation.
Gain of 1 on the play, second down. There is a white Saturn that needs to be moved immediately. A white Saturn license plate 262 UNP Utah license plate. Once again, a white Saturn license plate number 262 UNP Utah license plate. Please move the car immediately. Thank you.
You can already see what San Antonio is trying to do in this ball game, trying to get their quarterback out on the perimeter. They love her mobility. You saw some formation shifts early on, just trying to get outside and just trying to make sure they loosen up that defense. That's the best way to tire out a defense like Colorado. You want to work them east and west before you go north and south downhill.
Carried by number 22, Alana Ferguson. Left side of first down. It'll be 4th and 8.
Three consecutive plays, 3 consecutive outside runs. I'm expecting maybe here on short, 4th and short, an interior run play because they've gone left, they're going right, they've gone right twice. Maybe they can go right down the middle and pick up this first down. as you saw right there on that play, they just tried to go inside, but good job by Colorado blocking up or clogging up that interior rushing lane, and it forced Ferguson to bounce outside and pick up the first down.
Second down.
You guys are all attached by my
Timeout on the field, timeout. Official timeout. Two on the play. Third down. Section, fourth down. First and 10 Freeze.
And that's the type of defensive stop you want to see on the opening drive. They started on a short field, but Colorado was able to hold their own, shut it down inside the red zone, and force a turnover. The good part about that is that if you're San Antonio, you saw an opportunity to maybe you can get outside throwing the football. Maybe you can get outside as far as creating some opportunities on the opposite end of the field.
First and 10 Freeze is the 19-yard line.
In the vertical passing game. So we'll see what they do the second time around, but this is a good opening defensive series for Colorado.
Pass snap goes backwards. Lots of yards in the play. Second down. Timeout on the play. Timeout. Wrigley. The first team charge timeout. The first half. The IWFL and Utah Falcons would like to thank the two main financial sponsors for these games. We cannot have hosted these games without them. President of Utah Senate Wayne Niederhauser and the Utah Sports Commission. They Partain and Rayon Bradshaw at the limit of Salt Lake Horn. Bureau. Additional sponsors who helped us in making these fantastic units. NRI Sportsman. Comprehensive Orthopedics. Chick-fil-A. First Utah Bank, Central Square Tourism and Dining, Water Closet, Snow Bird Resort, and Crystal Inn Hotel and Suite. Making all the sponsors, making this weekend such a spectacular one here in Salt Lake City, Utah. Big gain on a half-back cross to the right side for a first down for the Colorado Freeze. No game play, second down. On the carries for a gain of 20 yards, and then their first down for the Colorado Freeze.
I like how the Freeze are operating with their running back, their backfield depth. They're rotating two players in, Brittany Burnett, who just checked into the ball game, and Brandon Burnett just checked into the ball game, but Brittany Direct, who had the long run, and a long run on the previous big gain in which she stepped out of bounds. That shows the depth that they have in the backfield, and that's how you wear down a defense, getting fresh legs in the offense, get them working early, and you can wear down that defense as the game progresses.
Gain of 1 on the play. Second down and 9, came up to 3. Tackle made by number 42, Katie Scott. For the regular. No gain on the play. Third down and up. Tackle made by number 15. First and 10 regulators. Official timeout. Correction, regulators timeout. Second timeout of the half. Stand 2 on the play, second down. Pass completed for 8 yards for a first down for the regulators. First down carry, down 1, second down and 9. penalty flag against the Regulators. Penalty set. Your score, 7 for the Colorado Freeze, 0 for the San Antonio Regulators with 2:39 left to play in quarter number 1. Kickoff return to the 43-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 Regulators.
And if you're the Regulators, what you want to do coming out of giving up a big play, you want to get back to basics. We saw that first drive, that opening drive. They came out, they ran the football well, they moved it down the field, got inside the 20 before they fumbled and turned the ball over. So they have to get back to basics. Last drive, they tried to throw the football. That didn't end up well for them. Get back to what you do well, and they should have some success.
Penalty flag on the play. Fumble recovered by the Freeze. That'll be 1st and 10 for the Colorado Freeze. After the penalty, a 5-yard penalty will make it 1st and 5. Intercepted by the Regulators. Picked up by number 22, Ferguson. 1st and 10 Regulators. play, second down and 9. In the forward play, third down.
By the way, like, how would you do that?
No gain to play. Fourth down coming up for the Regulators. At the end of the first quarter, the Colorado 37, the San Antonio Regulators 0. Today, Daniel State is where State City Delicious Barbecue has been the Utah Falcons fifth quarter restaurant all season long. So join the David Station and swing by their Fort Union location in Midvale for the best barbecue in town. In a 5 on the play for a Regulators first down. Tag it down by number 27, Aaron Pound for a 3. Second down. third down. Pass completed. Let's try the first down. It is 4th and 2.
Defense! 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 Defense!
Big gain by the quarterback, number 11, Monica Valdez. Official timeout on the field. Official timeout. That'll be first and 10, Regulators. Touchdown, Regulators! Scored by number 22, Ferguson! Ball start in the play, 5-yard penalty, retry the PAT.
Stay up over here.
PAT is no good. Your score is 11:46 left to play in quarter number 2. The 3-7. The Regulators 6. We would like to thank the TV and radio coverage for the Hooligans action. Holly Love at KJazz TV, Dan Griddle at ESPN, 960 Radio Utah County, Katie Nielsen at Broadway Media at ESPN 700 in Salt Lake City, Utah, Denver News, KSL News and Radio, WTV2, and Good for Utah. First, that's 40-yard line. Colorado Freeze, first down. First and 10. Don't forget, fans, if you have a smartphone and you're on Snapchat, plenty of fun Snapchat filters while you're at all the games. Keep your streaks going with a great football filter that will accompany you and your picks. Snapchat filter for a whole national championship weekend. Big tackle on the play by number 14, Pitkin for the Regulators. Second down.
I can't take you seriously like that. But they have like band.
Pass is incomplete. Third down coming up. If you're having a good time, make some noise! Third down at 17. 4th down. He checks again. First and 10, everything. Shannon Morton to play, 2nd down. Shannon Morton to play, but penalty flag on the play, penalty flag. Penalty's going to go against the Regulators for a personal foul face mask, a 15-yard penalty. After the penalty, we play 2nd down. carries. Penalty flags on the plate.
Don't know, but here he is.
Penalty against Wrigley. Pushing them back into their own 10-yard line. Will be first and 10 Wrigley. The National Women's Football Official Association has provided the center all-female officiating crew to the IWFL National Championship game. Official thanks to Henry Bader for making this a reality once again for the IWFL Championship weekend. Regulators, first down.
Hey, coach, you can't have her. Hey, coach, look at her shirt. She comes over.
I saw it right now.
First and 10, Wrigley.
She just like rips up in the back.
Pass completed for a gain of 5 will be second down. Gain of 6 on the play for another Regulators. First down. Yes, we're having a good time at the IWFL Founders Bowl game. Make some noise! Also throwing the play, second down. Once again, fans, we've got some fun prizes and giveaways prepared for the IWSL fans for today's action. Thank you, Chick-fil-A, for supporting the fun for our fans on game day. Also, we'd like to thank Comprehensive Orthopedics, First Utah Bank, Temple Square Tourism and Dining, Water Market, Snowbird Resort, the Crystal Inn Hotel and Suites. Also, we'd like to thank our medical providers, US MRI and SportsNet. Can't wait on the play. One down. Fourth down coming up. Under 2 minutes left to play in the first half, under 2 minutes. Turnover on downs. It'll be 1st and 10, Colorado 3.
Let's go, Horn!
A huge thank you to Bill Francis, Dave Stewart, and their broadcasting team at the Imagination Company for the amazing coverage of the 2017 IWFL National Championship. If you're ever looking to watch any of the action for this weekend, you can also tune in to highschoolrewind.com. Every Hunt is a former running back at the University of Louisiana, a published author. What does football teach me? A football love story, stiff arming of football myths, college football, color commentary, high school football, college commentary, and we'll be broadcasting the women's tackle football championship and all-star game all weekend long.
Are you gonna brace yours? Let's do it. I've been up and sitting all year. It's over there.
Penalty against the Freeze, holding will replay first down. Can't afford to play, second down. Timeout, Freeze. Timeout. Freeze, first down. Penalty flag on play, penalty flag. Pass is incomplete. Pass incomplete. Second down. Pass completed. Timeout 3. Timeout. At the end of the first half, your score, Colorado Freeze 13, the San Antonio Regulators 6.
The Regulators are not out of this ball game. They just have to get things going offensively. But you have to like how the Colorado Freeze are able to move the football down the field. They can throw, they can run. And right now, when you look at San Antonio, they're a little bit one-dimensional in their offensive approach. They have to get things going right now to start this ball game.
A lot of good things we've seen there in half number one. Colorado Freeze, they do lead 13-6. It's a good matchup here. This is your first time out here in Salt Lake City, isn't it, Emery? And just the views of the mountain. You're Brookie, you're an East Coast guy. What do you think of the views here at Cottonwood High School?
Yeah, everything looks like a postcard, man. No matter where you are in the city, everything looks the same. It's beautiful. I've had a great time since I've been out here. I've been out here since Tuesday night. I got in about 12:30 late night in the morning, but I've enjoyed my time and looking forward to tonight, tomorrow, and also Sunday.
Kickoff bounce around, gonna roll towards and out of bounds. Penalty flag will go against the Regulators off the kickoff. It'll be 1st and 10 at the 40 for the Colorado Freeze after the penalty. Penalty flag on the play, kicking the ball out of bounds. The ball will go to the Freeze, 1st and 10. Also, we would like to please make an announcement. Here at Cottonwood High School, there is no smoking on the campus grounds.
Here at Cottonwood High
Please,
School,
no smoking on the campus grounds. Thank you. Once again, no smoking at Cottonwood High School. Thank you.
On the campus grounds. Thank you.
1st and 10
No smoking at Cottonwood High School. Thank you. 1st and 10 Freeze.
Correction. They're going to re-kick.
Correction. They're going to re-kick.
They actually push the penalty backwards, and they're going to actually re-kick this, so the Freeze will actually get a better opportunity here. Regulators are going to kick the ball from the 35-yard line. It's going to allow the Freeze a lot more opportunity to run, and they're a speedy team. Kickoff's going to be short towards the 40-yard line. At the 40 now. Bouncing up at the 45. Bouncing around side will be knocked out of play about the 47-yard line. The Freeze will take the penalty yardage from kicking it out of bounds and will gain 7 yards on the play. 1st and 10 at the 47-yard line. Set up in the pistol formation. Number 7, Anna Peterson, the quarterback for the Freeze. For the snap, penalty comes off. Penalty flag's been flying all first half, and another one starts the second half. False start penalty against the Freeze. Back him up 5 yards. 1st and 15 now. Penalty flag against the Colorado Freeze. False start penalty. First
Penalty flag against the Colorado Freeze. False start penalty.
Peterson was set back up in pistol formation once again. A little bit of short snap. Ball's going to be flying high towards the left side. Ball's going to be tipped around, overthrown. Just misses the intended receiver, Jessica Poole. 2nd down and 15 coming up off a miss receiver there. Emory, the penalty pushes him back 5 yards, and then a kind of a low snap. We've been seeing that a lot in the first half. What does Colorado have to do to really take control of this game?
Has to just get back to basics and what they do well. I mean, I know I said that for San Antonio, but for Colorado as well. They've had some success. They've tried to move the football through the air. Right now they're playing sluggish, and they have to get back to what we saw earlier in the first quarter when they were hitting the ground running. They had their ground game going. They were also doing good things, throwing the short, quick passes.
As nearly broke away out of that, but was finally smothered away by not 1, not 2, but 3 different Regulators on the play, pushing them back another 5 yards. As 3rd down and deep is coming up here. Exactly what Emory said there. A couple miscommunications there. The Colorado Freeze seems like they've been controlling this game, but the score does not tell you that exactly. With only a touchdown lead here in the start of the second half, 1 minute has ticked off the clock. A couple penalty flags have flew here in the early going of the second half of play as well. As now it's 3rd and very long for the team from Colorado. Anna Peterson hasn't thrown the deep ball very well today. Nearly gets the player offsides, and I think the official caught it right at the last second. Looks like it's actually going to go against the Freeze, another false start penalty. So a couple jumping situations here. This is not what the Freeze wanted to do to start the second half of action. Penalties have been pushing them back ever since the ball was kicked out of bounds. The ball was supposed to start the 40-yard line. The penalty was accepted, and they redid the kick. Ended up at the 47. They pushed their way all the way back at the 30-yard line. 17 yards has been lost so far. Now it's 3rd and very, very long. Peterson back in the pistol. Snap's good. Just going to toss it over to the right side. Trying to bounce off a few different defenders. Can't do it. As number 34 doesn't get by the few Regulators attacking on the play right there to bring up a 4th down and still very long, as the punting team will come out here on the play. 4th down.
4th down.
So a slow first half of action has turned into a slow start for the Freeze here in the second half. Punted all the way out. Good punt. It's going to take a bouncing play, and an injured Regulator tries to come up and get that, and that does not look good for number 22 on the play. Ferguson, who's been the story all game long for the Regulators. That is not a good sign to see her go down on this punt return. It was a really awkward fall. Emory, what did you see on that?
It looked as if she may have tweaked an ankle or something with her calf, but it's unfortunate because she had a chance to field that punt, and that's their biggest playmaker. Lena Ferguson has been a standout on offense, defense, right here on special teams, and if they lose her for any extended period of time, that's a big piece of their offensive game plan.
Ferguson goes down. We'll take a quick break. Timeout here. Injury timeout on the play. The Freeze lead 13-6. 12:27 left to play in quarter number 3.
It'll be 1st and 10, regularly.
Let's go, D!
Couple of injuries knock off the Regulators and see them go to the bench area as we see Felix and Ferguson both head off the other way. Ferguson was able to jog off. Felix needed some help going off here, but it's 1st and 10, Regulators down a touchdown, looking to get some offense going here. Looks like nearly an offsides call, no whistle blown. Going up the gut, trying to find her way around. Katie Scott takes a big shot as she gets 4 yards on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 4. Saw a hole for 1 second, and Scott was just couldn't see anything else after getting blasted going through the middle there. Just ended up getting a few yards on the play. 2nd down and 4. Another run, this time to the opposite side, left side of the field, doesn't go nowhere, maybe a yard, and that's about it. 3rd down and 5. We've been seeing that all first half from the Regulators. Hasn't been able to find any offensive movement to say as the Regulators continue to struggle. And they've had a lot of 3rd down and 5 or more opportunities and hasn't been able to capitalize on them. Can the Freeze get off the field? 3 and out to start the 2nd half. Can the Regulators get a 1st down to open up here on this opening drive for them? Play action goes to the right, bounces off the receiver, can't hang on to it. Just sees that one drop. 4th down coming up. So another 4th down for the Regulators.
And that was a play they had to have. That's why it's important to make sure you extend out to catch the football. Don't let the ball get into your chest. Otherwise, that can happen. Brings up a 4th and 3, which could have been a 1st down.
The sun's starting to set here in Murray. Beautiful scene as the punt is partially blocked. Freeze touched it. Look, did they touch it? They did. The ball's loose for a moment. Finally picked up and recovered. That could have been very, very disappointing for the Freeze. Not the best way to handle a punt return as the ball bounces around and ends up in the right hands some way, somehow. Anna Klossmeyer with the recovery there on the play. It'll be 1st and 10, Freeze inside the 40, about the 38-yard line.
Penalty flag on the play. Penalty flag. No gain. False start against the Freeze. 5-yard penalty. We've got another official timeout on the field. Official timeout. Second down on the play.
Quick timeout, injury timeout on the field. Hopefully everything's all right. It was a scary injury. It's been a rough second half for the Regulators. A couple players have already gone down and walking around back to their bench, and scary situation we just saw there, and hopefully everything's all right with the Regulator and the rest of the team for today's game. After a pass goes incomplete, it'll be third down and long for the Freeze once again to open up this second series of the second half. Back in the pistol formation. Here, toss it over to the right. Over to number 34. Trying to get a block. She's going to redirect, go the other way. I apologize. Number 36. Derheck, who's got an open hole to the left side. Bouncing up to the middle at the 50. Inside the 50, be taken down about the 47-yard line. Misdirection going right to left and finally finds a hole for a first down for the Colorado Freeze.
First down, Freeze.
So big hole there. She found her way to bounce around. Couple big runs so far. Once again, Brittany Terhak, the running back for the Colorado Freeze. Head coaches for today's game, Joey Davison, John Lutz, and Jennifer Skinner are your coaches for the Colorado Freeze. On the other end for the Regulators, Veron Boyd, Rodriguez Fields, Patricia Franciscos, Diamond Hugh, Jamar Livington, Lisette Lopez, Jennifer Ramirez, Edwards, Ringnall, and Brittany Smidley. As a first down play gets about 4 yards on the play to make it 2nd and 6 coming up.
Four yards gain on the play. Second down.
Once again, Emery Hunt joining us all weekend long. All-Star game tomorrow morning right here, and then it's the championship game between the Utah Falcons and the Austin Yellow Jackets, as it's going to be a great championship day matchup, and the All-Star game is going to kick things off tomorrow morning, as we're here tonight at the IWFL Founders Bowl game, as again the Colorado Freeze and the San Antonio Regulators have both made the trip out here to Salt Lake City, Utah. Here at Cottonwood High School is where the game's being played. As a short gain on the play, it'll be third down and about 5 from what we see up here in the broadcast booth. A lot of injuries have been happening here. Emery Hunt, once again, former running back from the University of Louisiana. There's a lot of injuries that's been going on against the Regulators here in the second half, and you know, the clock is now starting to tick away, but it's got to be very demoralizing for the Regulators, you know, who are still only down a touchdown, but they're losing a lot of their star players in tonight's game.
Especially when you look at the lack of depth that they have already on the roster on this traveling team. So you lose someone, a key player, a key contributor, it does a lot to your morale, but you also have to just keep fighting to move forward and hopefully get this thing back on the right track and not dwell on it. It sounds bad to say, but that's what you have to do. It's that next player up, that next play mentality, and that's how you move forward as a team.
Just shy of the first down. It'll be 4th down and 1.
Yeah, hopefully the Regulators can get, you know, some momentum here. This is a big 4th down play for them. Again, second half, 7 minutes and 30 seconds and change ticking off right now. Regulators down a touchdown, 13-6 to score. So big 4th down. It's about 4th down and 2 for the Regulators. Colorado Freeze back in the pistol formation. Can they pick up a first down and continue to have this clock ticking away? Peterson gets the snap. QB sneak up the middle. Gets close to the first down. Where are they going to mark it from our angle right now? It looks like they're going to move the chains, as the officials will call a timeout and see exactly where it's at. QB sneak catches the Regulators off track. And from right now, looks like they're going to move the chains. Let's see what they call on the field, the officials. And they're going to give it a first down to the Freeze off a QB sneak. Gutsy call on 4th and 2. Emery, what'd you think of that call?
Great way to keep the clock moving in this third quarter because you want to start beating them not on the field, but also on the clock in order to have some success. So you want to continue to work the clock, work your opponent, and these long sustained drives really take advantage of a team that has some injury issues in this second half and also has dealt with a lot of key injuries throughout the course of this ball game.
Pass is completed to the right side. It's going to lose a couple yards on the play, actually. Looks like it's caught by number 93, Rachel Brown. Came in to play, lose a couple yards. It'll be 2nd down and 12 now for the Freeze. Kind of do a little bit of tricky situation. Didn't work out for the Freeze.
Loss of 2 on the play. 2nd down and 12.
So once again, head coach Joey Davison, John Lutz, and Jennifer Skinner just trying to continue to move the clock. Now we're under 7 minutes to play here in quarter number 3. Obviously getting a touchdown will give them a 2-score cushion as Peterson trying to get around, going to the left side, can't get by, trying to do something on the right-hand side, bounces around, finally pushed out of bounds. There's actually a handoff number 43, Alicia Cruz on the carry, kind of doing a wildcat formation for a second. But kind of tried to get something going on that play. Couldn't find nothing off the edge. As picks up maybe a yard, if that. 3rd down and long coming here. So if you want the clock to continue to move, like Emery was saying a moment ago, try to get a big play here. But I don't see the Freeze, trying to go for the quote-unquote kill of the game right now and go for a deep pass. I think they want to kind of keep the ball moving, try to get a lot of yards on a run play. Let's see what they do here. And they do. They toss it to the left-hand side into the hands of DeHawk. He found an opening to the middle. 30, 20, bouncing off, trying to get by. Finally brought down inside the 20 at the 19-yard line for a big play for the Colorado Freeze. Nice play on 3rd down. You like that, Emery?
Again, that's the best way to tire out a defense. You want to run east and west. And we saw San Antonio do this earlier in the game. They had some success. Now we're starting to see Colorado attack the perimeter with their offense. And again, you're facing a team that's tired, that's lacking the depth. And big plays like this will continue to happen because they don't have the bodies to sub in and out to stay fresh. And right now you're dealing with a team in Colorado that's fresh, they're fast, and they're attacking these guys outside.
1st and 10 now after a big run. Now they're going to step back, pass, ball's going to go up. It's going to be short. It's intercepted! Picked off by the Regulators just as you thought everything was going the Colorado Freeze way, and it's going to be a touchback. Oh, momentum is shifting right now, and that's a big, big play for the Regulators.
The old saying goes, dance with who you brought to the party. And that's your running game. Your running game.
Touchback is the call. 1st and 10 at the 20.
And your running game is what got you all the way down there. You're trying to throw the football, and a great job by the secondary just playing trail technique and was able to pick off an underthrown ball and get the ball back. But we said this earlier in the second half that San Antonio is not really out this game. Their defense has kept them in it. They need that one big play offensively. And if we're looking at this in totality, they gave up a special teams touchdown. This is really a one-possession game if that didn't happen. So.
Turnover on the play brings the ball up to the 20-yard line. 1st and 10 Regulators who are trying to find a way to tie this game up. Number 11, Sarah Naget, is the quarterback in under the center for the Regulators. As the officials are coming out to stop the play before the Regulators get going. And that's a big, big momentum swing as timeout on the field is going to go against the Regulators. So it will be 1st and 10 when we get back at the 20-yard line. A big turnover by the Regulators to hopefully and potentially tie this game up. With 5:33 left to play, it's 13-6 in favor of the Freeze.
timeout on the field. Timeout awarded to the regulators. They'll be 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line for the regulators.
Back at it again, 1st and 10 at the 20 after an interception by the regulators. Under center is number 11, Sarah Naget. Looking to get some momentum going here. Going to hand it off inside, bouncing to the left side, trying to get by, not going to get nothing on the play. Swarmed by not one, not two, but 3 different defenders for the Colorado Freeze, and can't see nothing as it's getting darker and darker here in Murray, Utah. So it's a later game than normally what we're used to. And if you're staying up late with us on the East Coast, thanks for stopping by. 11 and 20 on the East, 9:20 here in Utah. We appreciate you guys tuning in from east to west, north to south. Thank you for making us a part of your night here for the IWFL Founders Bowl game. 2nd down and 8 on the plate. Penalty flag goes up. As that one comes down far. That was nice of the regulator, who I believe went off sides. False start, I should say. She picked up the flag and gave it right back to the all-female officiating team today. Really awesome to see that. It's the all-female officiating crew for the IWFL National Championship games all weekend long. What a interesting fate to see that for all these officials to be covering these games. Ron's going to go to the left side after the penalty. Bouncing around. And not going to get much. 3rd down coming up. So the regulators, after getting the turnover, have been going backwards. As now they're back to even. Back at towards the 20-yard line where it all began after a turnover was picked off in the end zone for a touchback, a timeout afterwards. And we've been set up here for 3rd and long. What can the regulators do here? Back under center, tosses it to the right side. In the hands of number 22, Ferguson, who gets tackled down way behind the line. And jumping with joy is the Colorado Freeze. And just like that, momentum has died for the regulators. Tough break there. It's basically a 3-and-out we saw after a big turnover. We thought things were going to change hands for a second.
And in the first half, we would have saw Elena Ferguson turn that corner and use that speed to get down the sideline. That speed is gone since that injury on that punt return attempt, and I think that's what has slowed down this offense. This was a big opportunity for the regulators to make some noise and move this ball down the field, at least flip field position. Now they're going to have to punt, which makes it tough for them on their defense to get right back out there pretty quickly.
Punt goes high towards the sky. It's going to bounce inside the 35. Going to be at the 30. Inside the 20. 25, 20. 15, 10. 5. Bouncing through. Will they get in? No. Down at the 1-yard line. As a big return caught about the 35-yard line. Ends at the 1, and we've got another regulator down. Finally picked up, and a Colorado Freeze member goes down and hands up. Great applause, and we've already seen one punt return today, and that was by Ferguson. We've almost seen the second one of the night. Punt return to the 1-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal for the Freeze. 2:45 left to play. Freeze knocking on the door to extend this to a 2-score lead. Ball's inside at the 1-yard line. A couple substitutions coming in for the Freeze. We see number 14, Anna Klausemeyer, checks in late. As the way this game's been going, I wouldn't be surprised if number 24, Brandy Bernard, gets the carry. And that's who's behind the quarterback. Motion coming to the right. Fake handoff back to the pounded in for 2. Touchdown 4. The Freeze in the lead goes up to 13, and it could be 14 depending on the PAT. So a punt return sets up at the 1 yard line, Emory, and it's another big play for the Colorado Freeze, and now they're up 2 scores, and the Regulators just couldn't capitalize on that turnover. That's something that's going to haunt them when they look back at this game.
There's so many missed opportunities, especially on the defensive side of the ball. There are plenty of plays earlier in this quarter where they had chances to get off the field quickly. They weren't able to do so, which allowed the Freeze to extend the drive longer than what you would expect it to. And offensively, with those injuries, especially the one to Elena Ferguson, makes it tougher there. They lose their key playmaker on offense. Their quarterback is going double duty, so it makes it tough for them to find that consistency on the offensive side of the ball. So in order for them to have success moving forward, you want to see Ferguson get back rolling, running the football. You want to see their quarterback who started the game, whether Janisha Pipkin or the current quarterback, Sarah Negrete, get in there and start moving the football through the air. They had issues throwing the football in the first half. That carried over to the second half, no matter who's the quarterback. But if they can run the ball, and if Elena Ferguson is back at 100%, I think it was an ankle, but she was out there that last drive, then they can get things going. But now they're backed up. They're down 2 scores. We haven't seen them move the football past the 50 in the second half. So they have their work cut out. It still can be done. There's still another quarter to play. Their work is cut out for them, but they have to get it rolling on this upcoming drive.
Plenty of time left to get back in this game for the Regulators. Again, a point after was no good for the Colorado Freeze as this makes the score 19-6. 2:41 left to play in quarter number 3. Like Emory was just saying, plenty of time left to play in this ball game. And, you know, time is everything in any kind of sport you play, as the kickoff's now going to go towards the other side. Picked up at about the 30. Crossing the 40, back crossing the 45, going towards the 50. Finally gets across the 50 for the first time this half. As Emory was just saying, they haven't crossed it. Well, the kickoff goes to the 47-yard line, going in for the Regulators.
And one thing you have to realize, if you're San Antonio, you're down 13 points. You can't get it all back in one play. So you take a swing at this thing one swing at a time, and that's how you work your way back into this ball game. Down 13 points is just one play at a time to get you back in.
And with the game going later and later now, Emory, you're not from Utah, but you know the altitude here can really cause a lot of effects, and that's one reason why you see a lot of players are coming up with cramps. You know, in any sport you play here in the state, we have 2 players down for both teams, and now we see one of the Colorado Freeze member gets up, and we have another Regulator down again. Just give an insight to the fans who are tuning in and listening in today's game. Just how much of a difference does it make coming to another state? Because you've traveled a lot playing college football, but what's the biggest difference for you that you struggled with when you would travel to another state you probably never played at before?
2 things. One, the altitude I dealt with here. Just walking across the street, I was out of breath, and I grew up in New Orleans where it's humid. I could deal with heat, but the altitude I was not ready for. So I already know what San Antonio is going through there. But as far as weather, it was something that we didn't deal with properly when we played at University of Louisiana. We played Washington State, which is on the border of Washington and Idaho. It was the first time a lot of us had seen snow. And so we had never been outside to where it snowed, number one, or when it was that cold. And it's just something that it does something to your psyche. I remember the first time I sneezed, I thought I shattered my entire infrastructure. I was like, all my bones are broken because it's so cold out here. You're not used to it. And you see Washington State tried out with shirtless, and so it's crazy to see how one team can adapt to it. But on the flip side, when we played Minnesota, we had Minnesota come down and play us in Louisiana, and it was 95 degrees at 7:30 at night. And they weren't ready for that, so guys were cramping up. We still lost the game. We got blown out, but at least they were cramping up, and they felt the difference as far as playing in Minnesota as opposed to playing in Louisiana.
Also, another thing that's affecting San Antonio more than Colorado is the time difference. And obviously, San Antonio's been here for a while, but Colorado's just a hop, skip, and to the next state here from Utah, same time zone. And obviously, the altitude's a little bit higher in certain parts of Colorado. But it's 1st and 10 Regulators now after a great kickoff. Going to toss it over to the right side in the hands of Juanita Felix. Good to see her back out there. She breaks through at the 40, crows, and falls down towards about the 37-yard line. So Felix and Ferguson both were injured to start the third quarter of play, are both out there to do a couple big plays for the Regulators, as it's going to be just shy of a first down for the Regulators. But does the time impact anything, from traveling? Do you think that's one reason that San Antonio maybe kind of struggled to start in today's game?
I don't think the time affects at all.
9-yard gain.
I think
Second down.
the biggest thing about the time that throws off is your daily schedule. But what balances that out is the fact that you are an athlete and you're up to play a game no matter what time it is. So your adrenaline is pumping, so you don't really get affected as much by the time as you would by, let's say, the altitude or, let's say, the weather.
Big play there, number 11, the quarterback under center, Sarah Negret, finally bounces around and gets through and picks up a first down for the Regulators, trying just to build some extra momentum with just about 1:30 ticking off the clock here at the end of the third quarter.
Gain of 3 on the play. 1st and 10 Regulators.
So can the Regulators kind of find some momentum with now the clock ticking now under a minute? This has been a good game. Let's credit both teams first off for today's action. It's been great for the Colorado Freeze and the San Antonio Regulators. Both teams are really earning their stripes, you can say, in today's game, as it was a hot day here in Utah, as a big tackle for a loss on the first down play, brought down by number 43, Alicia Cruz. And that's a big tackle for the Colorado Freeze, and that will drop them back about 5 yards on the play, and that's not going the right way you want if you're the Regulators of San Antonio. But the clock is ticking down now, under 30 seconds left to play. 19-6 your score. We might get one more play before the quarter comes to a close, and the Regulators need this one to be a big play as the coaches are redirecting players go in and out. 10 seconds on the clock, and there's the penalty flag. I believe they're going to get delay of game. And that's exactly what it is, delay of game. And the head coach on the other side, Vernon Boyd, is not too pleased with what happened on that call. So now 7.5 seconds left to play before we close up shop for the third quarter, and we head to the final quarter of play once again in the IWFL Founders Bowl game here in Murray, Utah. Cottonwood High School is where the action's at, the home of the 2017 championship game. As the clock ticks down to 0, your score is 19-6 in favor of the Colorado Freeze. We'll be right back after this for quarter number 4, live from Cottonwood High School.
Your score after 3 quarters of play: the Colorado Freeze 19, the San Antonio Regulators 6. All right, fans, it's a little bit darker than usual, but it's always time for peanut butter and jelly. If you want some peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, make some noise! It's time for peanut butter and jelly time! Make some noise if you want to be one of the lucky fans who catches the peanut butter and jelly sandwich. The special winner will have a sticker on the sandwich and you will get a prize. Make some noise, fans! Starting the fourth quarter, second down Regulators.
start of the fourth quarter, Regulators find themselves down in a hole, 19-6. First play action, going to the right side, looking for a block, sees an opening, ball bounces off the fingertips and just drops. Looking for Ferguson, one of the very few mistakes, if that could have been the first mistake she's made in today's action. As it will come up to be third down. So third down and long for the Regulators. And obviously this is a four down territory no matter what happens here, I believe, with just being down 2 scores. You see anything tricky coming up here for the Regulators?
Again, they can't get both points. They can't get 13 points in one play. So I think they could do the right thing by, if they can't convert here, punting the football, putting them back deep on their own end. Don't try to gamble and get 2 touchdowns with 1, because it won't happen. And you see right there, Lena Ferguson dropping the ball. I think fatigue is starting to set in with her, which is unfortunate because she's their biggest playmaker on offense, coming back from an injury, and you could tell how she's walking back to the huddle. She's not 100%.
Yeah, Ferguson's been a great player all game long for the Regulators, and it's just been the last 2 plays, like you talk about, fatigue could be setting in as we're now in the fourth quarter of action. And now they're going to, obviously, I told you, it's a 4 down territory no matter what. 4th and very long. Snap back and a throw to the left, and it's going to be almost picked off by the Colorado Freeze. That would have went for a pick 6 if completed. And those are plays you dream of as a football player, jumping the route correctly, as we've seen Anna Klossenmeyer just drop a potential pick 6. As an offensive player, you hate to see a defender jump the route, don't you?
That's why you don't go for it on 4th down in that situation, because you have 14 minutes and 46 seconds left in the quarter. You don't go for it here. You still have enough time to get together, to put together 2 consecutive drives. We've seen Colorado's offense not be able to move the football. They panicked in that situation and nearly cost them dearly. But as an offensive guy, to answer your question, you never want to see that. As a quarterback, as soon as that ball leaves your hand, you're saying, please drop it, because you see it a mile away. And she was able to drop the football, but it still ended up giving Colorado great field position. Now, can their offense, which hasn't really done anything throughout the entire game, outside of the punt return touchdown and the punt return that set up the second touchdown, their offense really has been stagnated by this Regulators defense.
A bit of confusion for a moment where the first down marker was at. Finally, the officials get together and make everything correct, as it'll be 1st and 10 for the Freeze. Back in the pistol again. Peterson's been doing great things there. Tosses it to the left side. There's an opening on the left side. In the hands of number 34. Bounces it off at the 40, the 30, 20, 10, and no one's going to touch it. That's a touchdown for the Freeze.
Touchdown! Colorado Freeze! Scored by number 34.
Big play right there, and the momentum is now shifting towards the Colorado Freeze. Number 34, we don't have her on our roster, Anne-Marie, but she's had a couple of big plays, and how about that breaking loose for a big gain and 6 points right away to extend the gap, I guess you can say.
And you saw the missed tackle that was able to allow that touchdown to happen was Alana Ferguson. And I know we talked about her all night long, but that's where fatigue sets in. She took a poor angle to the ball carrier, missed the tackle, and ended up costing the team a touchdown. So, again, it's not the end of the game, but it's going to make it really tough for San Antonio to come back. So that was just a great job by staying fresh, and that's what depth can do to you by having depth on your roster. They got fresh legs. They were able to come in, get the touchdown, and now they just converted the 2-point conversion.
2-point conversion is good right there to make it 27-6 now in favor of the Freeze. We'll take a quick timeout as the teams will get ready to kick things off. Freeze on top, 27-6, 14:33 left to play. Live from Cottonwood High School.
2-point conversion is good to extend the lead for the Colorado Freeze. 27-6. Fans, if you're having a good time at the 2017 IWFL Founders Bowl game, please make some noise!
Kickoff return inside the 40, now bouncing around. It passed the 40, about the 43-yard line as well. The Regulators will start things off for their second drive of the fourth quarter of action. So the Regulators trying just anything to find a way to close the gap as Colorado Freeze has really been dominating the second half of play. So it'll be 1st and 10, about the 43-yard line for the Regulators. As the fans in attendance for the Founders Bowl are having a good time, hopefully you guys are all having a great time no matter where you may be listening and watching to us from. Again, David Vito on the call alongside Emery Hunt, the former running back of the University of Louisiana, published author of What Did Football Teach Me? A Football Love Story, Stiff-Arming Football Myths. I want to ask you about some of these books you've wrote in your time being. Do you have a favorite one of the three that were mentioned, or is there one that maybe we didn't mention that you really had a great time writing?
The Stiff-Arming Football Myths book was a hilarious one to write because it's taking shots at all of the football myths that you have out there. And we talked about a couple on the air just a few minutes ago. And when you're talking about the fact that the time difference may change, athletes will be athletes no matter where they play. So those things don't really bother an athlete, or just whether you're playing home or away. It really doesn't matter. Athletes will get up and play regardless. So I think that was the most fun I had writing, when they all were unique in a sense, because the Football Love Story and What Did Football Teach Me got a chance to interview over 100 former and current players and coaches about what they love about the game, what the game taught them, and what life lessons the game had a lasting impact on them. So all of that went into it. So each one had a different impact. They were all fun to write, all fun to put together. And it's just a great experience to put all that stuff together and give people something to read that's pertaining with football.
A lot on your resume there. Obviously, you've done a lot of college football color commentating and high school commentating, and it's just great to be here. And you've done some women's tackle football color as well. As it's going to be 1st and 15 after a penalty. Going to be a toss to the right side. Pass is completed about 3-4 yards out, as it'll be 2nd down and still long for the Regulators. And it's been a tough game for the Regulators today. It has, and we saw the the interception in the end zone. It was a one-score game. We thought the Regulators were going to go down the field. They actually went backwards. The Colorado Freezes came out and done everything right in the second half, and yes, injuries is a part of the game, and that's going to happen, but sometimes injuries can just cause fatigue left and right as the pass is completed. Once again, caught by number 5, Exemian. Just what are you seeing from the Regulators in just the second half in general? You talked about fatigue already, but is there something else besides fatigue?
It's just a lack of depth, because with fatigue, you're usually getting players coming in reserve and helping you out. But let's say you're used to playing maybe 20 snaps a game, and your reserve is injured. Now you're playing 40 snaps, so you're extending or exceeding your own playing time, because you're usually dependent on someone else coming in, and because that person is now hurt, it makes your game longer. It makes you're not built for that, and that's when you could have breakdowns in protection, breakdowns in execution, and that's when stuff starts to go haywire.
Something that's gone right something that finally gone right is a penalty against the Freeze for the Regulators. It's a pass interference call. Some fans here in attendance, we are a little bit closer to Colorado than San Antonio, but some of them didn't like that call on the field. But San Antonio will take anything at this time. Clock still ticking away. 12:57 left to play in quarter number 4. Regulators found themselves in a deep hole. 1st and 10 after the penalty. Step back into the pass. A deep throw going to the left side. It is going to drop in front of the defender for an incomplete pass, as one of the deepest throws we've seen for number 11, Sarah Negrete, for the Regulators. Tough, but that's what you want to see. You want to see him take shots in the game, don't you? Right now, you're down this many points. You got to take shots. These little runs that have been working halfway through to get you first and second and 5 or third and short, that hasn't got you points in the end zone.
Yeah, you're just trying to make sure you get yourself back in the game, give yourself a shot, but you also want to give your defense a rest, and that's going to be the biggest key. You don't have to get it all in one play. Slowly work the ball down the field, give your defense a rest, so that way when you do score and get back onto the field, they'll be more equipped to stop Colorado and put your offense back on the field. So you want to use this drive to get your defense rest, because if they go back out there after a quick 3 and out, it's going to be problems, and they're going to give up a big play once again.
Penalties are not helping the Regulators as well in today's action. Talk about things that, what could you help? What could help them out to be, to have a bit of a better second half than we've seen today. Penalties were a story in the first half for both teams, but it's really been hurting them here in the second half. There's another penalty pushes them back 5 yards. 2nd and 15 now for the Regulators. Quarterback under center, fans chanting defense for the Colorado Freeze. Play action to the right. Coming through, not going to find a way to fight out of it, as it looked like for a moment Negrete was going to be tackled hard behind the line. Instead, she made a couple shifty moves left then right and found her way up to gain a few yards on the play. So instead of being 3rd and way long, it's just 3rd and still kind of long. 12 minutes left to play. 3rd down here. It's been a beautiful, beautiful night, though, here in Murray, Utah. And this whole championship weekend is going to be a very festive event. The All-Star Game starts tomorrow, 10 o'clock Mountain Time, 12 o'clock on the East. So make sure you guys tune in and join us again tomorrow. As a step back, pass is going to go to the left. Caught by number 42, Katie Scott. Katie Scott's going to be able to get about a couple extra yards after the catch. It's going to be 4th and about 5. So 4th and manageable to potentially get a first down play here. Emory's first time here in Utah. We kind of touched on it about what you liked and just, coming from a different state. What's your intentions? You've seen some of the state already this week. You've been here so long. Are you excited for tomorrow's All-Star Game and, of course, the championship game that everyone's been talking about all week long?
Absolutely. I mean, you always want to see games that matter. Championship games matter, what's on the line. And you have a team in Utah that has done a great job over the last 2 to 3 seasons putting together impressive offensive outputs. Defensively, they've been good. And they're facing a team in Austin that has also done a great job in building up their program. So you're going to get 2 Titans in women's tackle football playing one another. And the All-Star Game is always a great thing, because you're going to get some of the top talent across the country in women's tackle football on display in front of a raucous crowd. So you like to see both games tomorrow. This game has been fun as well. So I'm excited to see it. Again, Utah has been wonderful. The Utah Falcons, who have hosted me out here, have been phenomenal. It's been a great experience.
1st and 10, Freeze.
Yeah, great experience all around here in the state, and everyone's buzzing about the championship game that's going to be played tomorrow night between the Utah Falcons and the Austin Yellow Jackets. 2 very competitive teams, with the Austin Yellow Jackets moving from west to east, as a toss is going to go to the left side, back in the hands of number 34. Now she's going the wrong way, trying to get by at the 20-yard line now, bounce it up to the 25, back at the 30. You're going to lose about 5-10 yards on the play for going backwards nearly 15, 20 yards. She probably ran a total of 40 yards on the play and only gained nothing. So that's not the best way to go. You went the wrong direction. Has just bounced it off again. Number 34, not on the roster, so we apologize. We don't have the name for her at this time. But this is the freeze time, you can say, is they're just trying to milk some of the clock, let the clock go the opposite way. As they've got the lead, don't want to do nothing too foolish here. And that was almost a foolish play, running backwards. Should have just cut the loss and just lost a couple yards instead of losing about 5-6 yards on the play. So second and long for the Freeze. Back in the pistol they've been in all game long. Hand off to the left side. Trying to get by at the 30. Stiff arm, shakes and bakes around to the 37-yard line before being tackled down. Brittany DeHawk with the carry. Brittany DeHawk's been a great player for this Freeze team. Is there any other players you really like from the Freeze today?
Obviously number 34, but we don't have her name, so she has been doing outstanding out there. But it's a total team
Third down
effort.
and 11.
The special teams of the Freeze has been impressive, and that's one thing when you look at football, a lot of people don't pay much attention to, but that determines the outcome of a game. We talked about it earlier. That's responsible for 14 points, essentially, for Colorado. So the special teams unit of the Freeze has been very impressive, in my opinion.
Yeah, we've seen a punt return already in today's action. As now it's third down and long for the Freeze. Going to toss it back over to the right side. Into the hands of Bernat. She's going to make a move at the 40. Bounce around up the sideline, and she will get enough for a first down, I believe, depending on the mark. Let's see if she stepped out just before it. As the official is right there, it looks like it's going to be about a yard short, and it'll be 4th and 1, and that's exactly what the call is.
10 yards gain on the play. 4th and 1.
So the Freeze, have the option to punt it away or punch it through, to take a couple more ticks off the clock here as the clock is ticking away. About 8 minutes and change now left to play here in the 2017 IWF Founders Bowl game. 4th and 1 coming up here. Quarterback sneak up the middle again. Fumble! Oh, quarterback sneak is going to the left side. Lost the ball for a moment. Picked it back up. Peterson at the 30. Inside the 20. Down about the 16-yard line. Quarterback sneak breaks through the gap and gets a big gain about the 15-yard line.
Anna Peterson with the quarterback sneak. There's a big gain on the play for another first down for the Freeze.
As you can see, this game going back and forth with the game is a game of inches, and 1 yard is all she needed. Ended up getting about 30 yards on the play. Thought she was stuffed for a moment, found a way to bounce through. So it's gonna be 1st and 10, 7 minutes and 40 seconds left to go. So continue running the rock as we're gonna get a timeout on the field. It's going to be timeout Freeze. We'll take a timeout with it. The Freeze, 27. The Regulators, 6. Quick timeout, 7:46 left to play. We'll be right back after this.
Timeout on the field by Freeze. Timeout. Once again, fans, thank you for coming to Cottonwood High School, located here in beautiful Murray, Utah, for the IWFL Founders Bowl game. We appreciate you guys all coming by and enjoying the night here in Murray, Utah. Give it a hand for both teams so far near the end of the first quarter. The Colorado Freeze and the San Antonio Regulators.
To action, play action to the left, bounces around off the chest, looking to get to number 14. Dropped it by Anna Klossmeyer. As a hurry-up offense coming here for the Freeze at 2nd down and 10.
Pass complete, 2nd down.
27-6 the score. Freeze looking to add a few more points here before the night comes to a close here. Beautiful night, beautiful day. Started at 7 o'clock Mountain Time. Toss to the right for number 34. Going to be tackled with a gain of about 1. Big play by number 11, Sarah Negrete, who plays quarterback on the other end, and got a big tackle there for the Regulators.
Gain of 1 from the play. 3rd down.
Freeze looking to do anything at this moment. So 3rd down and long. Now, you know, from my experience, you never see a lot of field goals in this league, Emery, as 3rd down coming up here. If they get stopped, it's really unlikely a field goal attempt will be had, but we'll see what happens here. Snaps up, fading back, and it's almost picked off as it's going to be 4th down now. Emery, in your time with the Women's Football League, you know, field goals just aren't really common, are they?
Not necessarily, because that's a skill that you really have to cultivate and develop. And you see college football teams struggle with field goal kicking at every level, from the FBS level to all the way down to the NAIA level. So, you know, it's something it's a skill, it's a unique skill, it's a talent. And if you don't have it, it's tough to pick it up on a weekend and figure out how to do it.
Yeah, it is, and you see a lot of college athletes. There's some really good kickers, you know, and there's a reason because of the time and effort they put into it. And it's just, this is a different type of game we see played here, but it's exciting. And this is, again, another great game between the Freeze and Regulators. All-star game tomorrow morning. That's going to be a treat for everyone in attendance and everyone watching on the website. Toss to the outside, back into the hands of Brandy Burnett, who's going to be stopped at the marker. So it's going to be turnover on downs. Regulators will get the ball back with 6:39 left to play. And you always play to the final whistle here. And no matter what sport you play, the final buzzer, being down about 3 scores now for the Regulators, it's your foot's it's all the way to the floor, right, on the gas pedal, right?
Physically, yes. Mentally, no, because that's the toughest part. Because, yeah, you're out there physically trying to give it your all because you don't want to get hurt and also you want to play your best. But mentally, you look at that scoreboard and you're seeing, man, it's no way we can come back. We're down. We haven't had any success. And I think that right there is what weighs on the team, and that's why you see teams tend to close out poorly. But if you want to get off on the right foot for next season, this is the type of situation that you can look back on and say, hey, we were down, we finished strong, and let's pick up right where we left off in 2018.
27-6 to score. 1st and 10 now for the Regulators inside their own end. They're going to pitch toss it to the right side, bouncing through, find a gap at the 20, inside, great block, 25, tackled down about the 27-yard line. Big play out there, and that's what you're talking about. Physically, they're going 100%, but you don't want to be hurt on the play. What'd you like about that play right there by the Regulators?
I like the peel back block by the offensive lineman because that shows someone that hasn't quit, that shows effort, that shows the 1-2 that you want to see out there. And coaches will respect that, and players will respect that on both sides, that, hey, this player is still out there playing 100% even though they're down big on the scoreboard.
1st and 10, big play right there for the Regulators. Under center, going to toss it, fake one way. Ball's going to be brought down. Ball still loose for a moment. I think it was finally picked up by the quarterback, number 11, Sarah Negrete, who just barely came away with that. It was kind of like watching that play. The running back went the wrong way. Is that what you saw too?
Well, this is an example of when your mind and your body are not on the same page, because this is where fatigue kicks in. You don't drop a tall sweep like that. That's a routine play. And also when it's on the ground, you don't miss the opportunity to pick it up and recover it, because that's an easy recover for the offensive player. So this is where you start to see the fatigue kick in. It looked like a delayed toss, trying to influence that defensive end to crash inside. Then you pitch it late and you have a lane to where you can get outside and make something happen. So a lot going on, a lot to unpack there on that bobble snap or bobble pitch attempt by San Antonio.
Miscommunication nearly caused a fumble on the play. Now they toss it back to the left side, and Felix is finding a gap for a moment, going to be shut down, can't get up to the 30-yard line. Great defense by the Freeze right there. As now we're under 5 minutes left to play. It's been a great night up here in the broadcast booth. It's been a great time. You know, the first half didn't go as planned, and we apologize for that, but we were able to get the second half up and running for all the IWFL fans who basically demanded on social media that they wanted to see these games broadcast, and that really says a lot about the fans of this league. And because they just, no matter where they're at, they want to see this women's football action all weekend long. And I'm happy, you know, that I'm happy you're here for this game tonight, and we'll be back here for the second half as the run's going to come over here to the right side, breaking through up at the 50. He's going to be stopped about the 48-yard line. Big gain by who else? Alana Ferguson getting some of her legs back here. But the amount of support for the IWFL is really, really great. From what I've seen, you've probably heard a lot too about this league. Just what's your reaction to, you know, just how popular this league has really gone over the couple, you know, just the last few years?
I think it's gotten very popular, and I like that it's continuing to grow. We've been in business at Football Game Plan for 10 years now, and every year we've seen more and more teams, more and more women get involved, and more people are talking about it. We've seen it on a bigger scale, let's say on some major networks, and that's the part that you want to see the game continue to grow. And I'm excited to see these new teams pop up. This is the Founders Bowl, these new programs, new athletes get an opportunity to play. It just bodes well for the future of women's tackle football at all levels, whether it's the professional level, which is where we are now, or even at the high school level. So I'm excited to see where it can continue to grow in the next 10 seasons.
As we're nearing the end of today's action, as a official timeout on the field due to another injury, I want to ask you about the development of just the game in general. Now, we know the game of football, especially since probably the time you've played, has changed tremendously. Concussions are a big thing people always talk about. The injuries are a bigger thing, you know, from high school to the professionals. Just what's your take about the way the game has kind of changed, evolved to how maybe safetier and some might say softer it's become?
Well, I think everything has its changes for the betterment of the game. I remember, just an example, we talked about this all the time, me and a good friend of mine, at how much more advanced these guys are nowadays as far as nutrition is concerned. You know, we thought you just eat and you lift weights, you gain weight and you gain muscle. But now there's an art to it. There's a nutrition. There's certain things you can't put into your body. So from that standpoint, we have gotten better. Equipment, they're trying to make it a little bit more safer. That's still yet to be determined, because even from back in my day, I say back in my day, but my last game was in 2001, and to see the equipment is now lighter, it's smaller, and I just have a hard time understanding how that's going to make it better. But the results are that, you know, you're starting to see the injuries go down a little bit, concussions are up a little bit more, or maybe people are starting to diagnose concussions more so than back when we played, when people just said you got your bell rung, and no one really said you had a concussion. So I'm excited to see them spend more focus on the safety part. As far as women's tackle football is concerned, there was one point in time when people thought women couldn't play football. Obviously, they've been proven horribly wrong, and I think they have done a great job of really focusing on the safety issue, because that's going to be the biggest hang-up a lot of people have when they're talking about women's football. How safe is it? Well, we're seeing right here, probably not at this moment when someone's down by injury, but for the most part, we're seeing how safe women's tackle football is, and I just hope it continues to get safer and even better.
Yeah, the game has evolved so much. Like you said, the equipment's, you know, changed over time. Just the way the game has changed in general. You know, you teach players, you know, not to tackle up as much or lead with your head anymore. And, you know, back in, the 70s, 60s, 70s, and even the 80s, you know, was the really crucial times where players, I don't want to say weren't taught correctly, but it's just how the game was played at that time, especially in the NFL and college football. But you see it even in the women's league, that, you know, the tackling is improving. You know, you're taught to go lower now as as a young child when you're learning to play the game of football, and you're taught that, don't lead with your head or helmet anymore, because that's really where the problems come in. And it's not that the coaches, these coaches are teaching the kids wrong. It's just these kids, grew up, and I grew up, probably you did too, with the Madden, the hit stick button. And, that was the popular thing. The hit stick was going to be left. You wanted to make the big play. And now you don't really see the big plays or big hits anymore in any football game. And that's why some fans call the game soft now. But it's true. You have to change with the time. We're in a different era now. It's 2017. Everything's changing in this world, and all the sports are changing with it as well. But as the injuries here, we'll take a quick time out. We'll come back and recap with about 3:11 left to play in today's action. The score is 27-6 in favor of the Colorado Freeze. You guys are listening and watching the IWFL Founders Bowl game here at Cottonwood High School.
It'll be second down. Once again, fans, if you're having a great time, make some noise! Thank you guys for joining us for the IWFL Founders Bowl game here at Cottonwood High School. Continue to support both teams on the field. Second down.
Second down play, going to be handoff. Fake handoff and kept by the quarterback, we should say. Fooled me once. Can't be fooled again on those play actions here. Sometimes the quarterbacks always get the broadcasters messed up left and right. But once again, we're back here in Murray, Utah, here at the home of Cottonwood High School. Utah Falcons are hosting this weekend's action for the championship game tomorrow night. It's going to be a great game. It's really going to be a great game. The Falcons and Yellow Jackets, Austin and the Falcons kind of have, I would say, a semi-competitive rivalry between the two teams, as a big run here is going to be at the 40, inside the 30, back to the 25, bouncing around. It'll be bounced off about the 24-yard line. Oh, what are you most excited about tomorrow's championship game between the two teams, the Falcons and Yellow Jackets?
How Austin will try to stop the option attack, and that's going to be the biggest key, because option football is very tough to defend, because there's 3 options in it, or maybe even 4 if you include the passing game. So, and to see how Utah, who's the smallest team, deals with the size of the Austin Yellow Jackets. They have a ton of size and a ton of speed to go along with that size. It's going to be interesting to watch them compete tomorrow.
Landon Ferguson on the carry, just shy of the first down, second down and 9.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how these two teams mesh together. Utah Falcons have obviously been having a great back-to-back seasons. Their third straight trips into the championship game, looking to be a back-to-back champions in this league. The Yellow Jackets they have a chance to do something really unique. They can be spoilers, because let's be honest, we're playing the home of the Falcons tomorrow, but the Yellow Jackets are going to come in here. They're going to have a chip on their shoulder tomorrow, and a great action, championship action, as the ball's going to be fumbled around, dropped as number 4 Joan Chaldek checked in as quarterback. But if you're a visiting team, it's usually a neutral field. You're playing on championship games, and just this year it ended up the Falcons getting to host it. But if you're a visiting team coming into an atmosphere for a championship game, I mean, don't you think you'd have a little bit of extra chip on your back or something like that?
Well, Austin may have a little bit of a unique feeling, because, yes, this is the home of the Falcons, but the colors on the field, the colors in the stadium all Austin Yellow Jackets colors. It's yellow and black, so they're going to feel at home with that. But I think as a visiting team coming in, let's say you come into someone's homecoming. When I was in college, we were pretty much everybody's homecoming. That's how bad we were. So we go into the place like, hey, we can spoil their homecoming. We're going to try to make this homecoming dance at the end be miserable for those guys. It never worked out that way. But for the most part, that's what the mindset was coming in. And so if you're Austin, you're coming way up here to Utah, you want to spoil this whole atmosphere because you probably in your mind feel as though it has been pro-Utah all week long. The press conferences, the practices, everyone's talking about the Falcons. And what better way to put a exclamation point to your season than to end that undefeated streak by knocking these guys out in a title game.
Looking for back-to-back perfect seasons. The Utah Falcons will be looking to do that tomorrow night. Like Emery was saying, this field is Yellow Jacket colors, so you're right, they will feel just right home. Under a minute left to play. Regulators looking to punch in one more score before the final buzzer hits. Offside should have been called. Referees didn't see it. Toss to the right, going to bounce around. Can't complete it. Number 9, Felix. And she, ever since getting injured, she was one being kind of carried off at the end, at the start of the third quarter. Her and Ferguson, they were both injured on the play. That really took a lot of momentum and just a lot of strength of this team out of the game as 30 seconds and ticking now. It's been a great game here. Again, most likely you're going to see the 2017 IWFL Founders Bowl champions are going to be the Colorado Freeze, as no gain on the play is going to actually lose a couple yards as 4th down. Turnover on downs, 14.8 seconds left to play. Emery, takeaway. What do you take away from tonight's first game of the championship weekend?
Hopefully the people out there watching understand the importance of depth, understand the importance of endurance, and understand the importance of execution, because all of which led to a breakdown in this San Antonio game plan this afternoon, this evening. So that's the biggest thing I take away. And credit to both teams coming out here and competing in this Founders Bowl. I like the way both teams were coached. I also like the talent that they have on both rosters. And you have to be happy with the production and where these guys are headed moving forward. It's great to welcome them to the IWFL.
As the final seconds, we're about to tick down. Of course, a timeout on the field. Timeout by the regulators. The coach was showered, by the way, with his Gatorade or water on the sideline. What I take away is this is the first game of a great weekend here in Utah for all teams involved. This is a great atmosphere, and to be a part of this weekend is going to be very special. I know Emery, first time out here in Utah, you've already had a great experience all week, and it's just going to get better and better. Tomorrow's going to be the icing on the cake, some might say, as this is one of the best states that is like a hidden gem, I think, when people don't realize how nice this state is, as the final 14 seconds is about to tick off right now as a kneel down comes down. Your 2017 Founders Bowl champions are going to be the Colorado Freeze. What a game, what a night for the state of Colorado and their women's football team.
Your final score, the Colorado Freeze 27, the San Antonio Regulators 6. Give a big round of applause for the 2017 Founders Bowl champions, the Colorado Freeze.
Before we say so long and good night from Murray for just a few more hours, we're going to be back here really, really soon. We're going to go home, sleep, and wake up. We're going to be right back here in the broadcast booth. Probably some of us won't sleep too much tonight. Big games. All-Star game's going to be fantastic. A lot of great All-Stars from both teams. I've seen the All-Star rosters, and I know it's going to be a fantastic All-Star game. You excited for that tomorrow?
Absolutely. You're talking about guys from east to west, north and south. all over. Some of the best in women's tackle football get to get out here at Cottonwood High School and kick it off and put on a nice showcase. Now we won't see the Utah Falcons or the Austin Yellow Jackets All-Stars. Obviously, they're playing in a championship game, but we're going to see some great action.
Fans, give a big round of applause to the San Antonio Regulators.
So we'll say so long and good night until tomorrow. The All-Star Game is going to be great. We'll see you all tomorrow. For Emery Hunt, I'm David Vito. We'll see you guys live early in the morning here at Murray, Utah. So long, good night from Murray, Utah.
All right, please turn your attention towards the middle of the field as the IWFL has a trophy to give out. Take it away.
Thank you all for coming out tonight. My name's Laurie Frederick, the IWFL president. So glad to see all of y'all here supporting this game tonight. I do want to say a few words. We've seen the Regulators here unite a few championship weekends in a row. We are proud to have you in this league. You fought hard tonight. Let's give a round of applause. Congratulations, Regulators, on getting to the Founders Bowl this weekend. We look forward to seeing you back next year. So this is the first time we've seen the Colorado Freeze. We're so proud and honored to have this team at our league. And they worked hard to get here. And at this time, I'd like to present the trophy for the Founders Bowl champion, Colorado Freeze, Bill G. Davidson. Dan will say a few words, and you can let us know who our game MVP is.
I'm going to keep it short, but ladies, I just want to know I appreciate you so much. I'm so proud of you guys coming out here. You guys fought a heartfelt battle. I'll be checking in later because I hope who got card off the field that she's going to be okay. So let's definitely our thoughts. Yeah, game number 14. Keep doing what you're doing. We love it. Love playing you guys. Thank you guys, the fans. We couldn't do this without you guys are here. Everybody that travels for both teams. And MVP. Hawk Terror!
Okay, we do have a few more gifts. This year, starting this year, and from now on, the winners of the Founders Bowl will be getting championship pendants, being handed out by Kezia Disney, the COO. Again, thank you, Regulators. We hope to see you back next year. It's becoming a regular occurrence seeing you here. I know it'll be great. I know the air is a little thinner here in San Antonio. We'll see you back next year. And congratulations to your Founders Bowl champions, Colorado Freeze.
One more time, give a big round of applause to both the teams, the San Antonio Regulators and the Colorado Freeze. Big day tomorrow. Thank you guys for coming out to the 2017 Founders Bowl. Have a good night. Drive safe. We'll see you all tomorrow for the All-Star Game.